Today we're introduced to this idea of clipping masks. And clipping masks are great because you can take an image and texture or shapes and kind of embed them in one another. So like a mask, you can see through parts of it. Now in order to utilize clipping masks, we're going to need layer order and we're going to need our layers panel. So let me zoom in on our check for understanding for the day. First thing we're going to need to have is our layers panel here. You know, if you cannot find your layers panel, all your panels are under window. Second thing we want to do is open up the layer called check for understanding. It says to change the layer order so that the cloud is on top because your mask must always be on top of the thing you're masking. So in this case, the cloud is our mask. We want to see the shape of the cloud, but we want the texture of the paper. So I'm going to drag my cloud over my texture, wait until I get that blue line. And it doesn't look like much now, but I haven't made a clipping mask yet. I've just changed the order. Now what we want to do is add a clipping mask. Now I'm going to pull this out here so you can really see. If I try to hit the clipping mask button that's on the bottom of the layers panel, do you see that it is grayed out? That's because I have a sub layer selected. In order to utilize a clipping mask, I must have our main layer selected. When I click on the main layer, which is like the name, you know, the full one, not this little piece, this here that says check for understanding, suddenly it will no longer be grayed out. And I can hit the button that says make or release a clipping mask. When I do so, the shape of the texture should be seen through the mask of the cloud. Now, I also recommend you lock a layer when you're done masking because what happens is you can easily move the picture of what you're masking through around. So to lock, we're going to hit this little space between the eye and the layer, and this will ensure that I don't accidentally move that. The main chunk of your time today is going to be spent in either option 1 or option 2. Both are very similar in what you're doing, which is bringing in some textures and then putting them in these little shapes. Let's start off with the heart. Let's say I want to do the heart. What I want to do first is open up option 1 here, find the layer that says heart 1, should be right on top, and hit the little target symbol, which is just a circle next to it. It just means it's activated. What this is going to do is two things. It's going to activate it, but it's also going to show me where the heart is because there's so many hearts. The next thing you're going to do is open up those textures that you downloaded from Google Classroom. I provided about 10 of them. And you're going to place those textures in your document. To do so, you go to File, Place, and I have a folder I named for texture. You're going to choose any of the textures you like. I'm going to go with this one here, and I'm going to hit Place. And then I'm just going to click anywhere on my page to put the picture. Now obviously this picture is kind of large, so I can shrink it down and focus it right where that heart is, that heart 1. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in. Now, remember that the layer order really matters for this. So basically, heart 1, I have to have the heart on top of the picture. So I'm in my layer named heart 1, and this picture has showed up with it. I need to change the order so the shape of the heart is on top of the texture. So I'm going to take my heart 1 image and just drag it right on top. So you should have something that looks like this. Heart, picture. Next thing I need to do is make a clipping mask. But right now it's grayed out again. That's because I have to actually click on the word heart 1, the main layer, in order to add a clipping mask. So once I click on heart 1, the main layer, click on clipping mask, now I've clipped the heart to the shape, the texture. Once I'm done, I like to minimize and lock. This is going to prevent me from moving it, just like in the check for understanding. And I'm going to repeat this for a whole bunch of the hearts until all 15 or 16 hearts have different textures in it. Now, I've only given you 10 textures, so as an extension, I would really like for you to research your own pictures of textures. They can be stone or clouds or any texture you can think of. If you don't do the heart, you can do the mountains, and it's the same technique. All of the shapes, including the shadows, the highlights, the grass and the mountains, and the sun and the sky, should also have textures embedded with the same steps, right? Bring in an image, make sure the shape is on top of the texture, and hit clipping mask. You'll come up with some really pretty works of art. Get creative. Make sure you lock your layers so you don't move them around by accident. Good luck.